Right, so good evening. It's Friday. I'm not wearing sunglasses, and I've got a house full of upset, let's put it mildly, upset, angry Arsenal fans. So we've got a new face in Ray from Arsenal Fan Circle. Ray, good evening. How are you?
Still a little bit hazy, an Arsenal-induced haze. But we'll talk it over. Thanks for having me on.
Okay. And then we've got the voice of reason, Colin himself. Colin.
I hate to say I told you so, but drop RSFC, man. Drop RSFC.
Yeah.
Bring on the summer, lads.
Yeah. And then we've got my brother Ralph. Ralph, good evening. How are you, man?
Yeah, well, I just come back from work, and I've got Chelsea fans telling me where were we. I got a Man United fan said we crumbled like biscuit, and I got a Spud fan who walked past me and said, "All right." And I saw one kid who was wearing a Chelsea top, and on the back was Hazard. Never in my life did I want to slide tackle a 5-year-old wearing a Chelsea top, just to show him that he's my turf, man. So yeah, let's go in.
All right, and then we've got Richard from Arsenal TV. Richard, welcome back on the Easytalk.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Do you know what? It's just I'm still fuming even 48 hours after it. It's just mental.
It's been very. This one's been very hard to take. You know, we've spoken about 2006. You know, but this one for me personally, it was very hard to take. So, Colin, the voice of reason, tell us all about it.
What is there to say, Alex? I mean, like, really? Do you know what, though, right? The first half wasn't that bad. Like, it was fairly even. We were getting chances. Chelsea were getting chances. And if you ask me, first half, we looked like the better side. Second half, I don't think there is a single explanation that I could come up with that could explain that bollocks. Not one. Not one. I've had enough of these players drop Arsene. I've had enough of it. Honestly, I've had enough of it. This keeps happening. And it's not going to stop until we get rid of these dead players. That's our problem. I've seen people call for Emery's head. Okay, here, let me ask you this. Name me one manager that could do better with these sets of drop arses. Please, explain that one, right? Is Allegri getting it more out of this side? No. Is Guardiola? No. Is Klopp getting more out of him? No. Is Conte, who's gone to Inter now, by the way? No. It's not the manager. It's deeper than that. You can say that, our away form's shocking. Our defense is shit. Our defense has been shit for 5 years. Like, are you just waking up from a coma? Like, seriously. As far as the players go, right, I've actually compiled a list of ones that I would keep and ones that I would tell to go sling it, right? Lacazette and Aubameyang can stay, right? They've been good. Mustafi, sling it. Petr Cech's retired, non-existent. Xhaka, sling it. Monreal, sling it. Koscielny, sling it. Mkhitaryan, sling it. Ozo, sling it. On your bike. Torreira, I'd keep. Ramsey's going to Juve. Leno, I'd keep. Niles, I'd keep. Iwobi, I would keep as a squad player.
Yep.
Kolasinac, on your bike. El Neni, bye-bye. Danny Welbeck, bye. Jenkinson, bye. Honest, of all the players I've got here, right, the only ones I would genuinely keep are Lacazette, Aubameyang, Socrates, Rob Holding, Lucas Torreira, Leno, Bellerin, Niles, Iwobi, Guendouzi, and the young kids like Mavropanos and Ketia and Joe Willock. And you can include, I guess, like Saka in that as well if you want.
Okay. But Colin,
Right.
so just sorry to cut you off there, but again, this season I decided not to do any transfer news videos because you get papers just making up stories just for the sake of it. I've seen on Twitter that there's been talk about maybe Atletico Madrid wanting Lacazette. Is there any truth in that?
They can go and sling it. There's no truth in that. There's no truth in that because, I mean, if we had to sell one, right, and I'm not advocating selling either of them, by the way, but I can see us selling one to generate funds, which I think is a stupid idea in the first place. Partly because you're going to have to spend that money you get for them to replace when they go. So, pointless. Absolutely pointless. The way I see it, what we have to do, we just have to get rid of the players that either don't want to be here or just are not good enough. And unfortunately, Ozil, he fits into both of those.
But who's going to want to buy Mustafi? Who's going to want to buy a player who's on £350,000 a week rate? Which club is going to want to buy those players?
Fuck knows, man. Honestly, I don't know. Do you know what the sad thing is, right? We are in the proper shit. And it's because of these players that were in it. Right? Unai Emery has been here for what? A year? Look at the state of that squad. Do you think Unai Emery is happy with that?
No.
Fuck no. I wouldn't be happy with that. That's bullshit. That's actually bullshit. Like, there's only, like, two, like, centre-backs by trade that I would genuinely keep. And those are Rob Holding and Socrates. Because Mavropanos isn't in the first team right now.
And
if he was in the first team, I'd add a third to that, but nah.
And you definitely keep Maitland-Niles as well.
Of course.
Even though he was at fault for those last...
He's improved this season, Alex.
He has.
Without a doubt.
I give him that.
Without a doubt.
But he's a squad player.
Same as Alex Iwobi. Speaking of Alex Iwobi, by the way, he done more in 5 minutes than Ozil did all game. This guy's on 250 grand a week. Yet an academy kid is outperforming you. Seriously. Have a fucking word, man.
Colin, I have to go over to Ray. Ray, what's your thoughts about the performance? And actually, the overall picture, the way that Arsenal just missed out on top four in the league. And we had, were our expectations just too high?
We didn't just miss out on top four. We had numerous chances. I've got a list. I've got a list going from April 1st, funnily enough, April Fool's Day, when we beat Newcastle. All eyes went on the Europa League from the coach as well, which I do support, and the players. The Everton game, we lost 1-0. A listless performance, losing a goal to a 30-something-year-old centre-back. Eyes went on the Napoli game. We won that game. We were lucky to beat Watford away from home. And then we had 3 games in the league, Palace, Wolves, and Leicester. The Palace game we should have won at home as well. Now, I'll reiterate, I do support the coach, but eyes were taken off of the league. And maybe there's a little bit of ego going on with Emery being a Europa League specialist. And hindsight's 2020. We can all be, but I've got a list of 10 players like Colin has as well. They can just sling it as well. Mustafi, Koscielny, Monreal, Jenkinson, Kolasinac, Lichtsteiner, El Neni, Ozil, and Mkhitaryan. They can all go, and I think we all have a similar list. So we have a lot of work to do in the summer. Like you said, how are we going to find homes for a lot of these players? It's going to be difficult, but we have to maybe lose a lot of money in the process. And one final point, Alex, the previous regime's mismanagement, we had deals coming up for both Alexis and Ozil coinciding at the same time, and we were held over a barrel. A 30-year-old midfielder that's past his best days in Ozil, and we're letting go a 2-year younger Aaron Ramsey for free. Where does that make sense?
It just beggars belief. Just beggars belief that we are in this situation where the players that we want to get rid of are either on sky-high salaries or they're on they still have 2 more years to go in their contracts. How did we get in this situation? Richard, how did we get in this situation?
I think the first off for me would have been Stan Kroenke in as full ownership of the club, if I'm completely honest, because I had a feeling that when he comes in, and I've said it before ages ago, if he comes in, we're not going to get Champions League football and we're going to get worse and worse and worse. I think the worst days are still to come while Stan Kroenke is in charge. These players that we've got are absolute bottle jobs and they do not deserve to wear the badge on the shirt. They don't. It's a cup fucking final. How can you seriously throw a European title away? There is fans that has never seen Arsenal win a European trophy, and yet you go and let them down. You play like a bunch of wankers every fucking season. I've had enough of these players. I want them all gone. Apart from maybe 4 or 5. I want them gone. Xhaka, I want out. Ozil, I want gone. Tell me seriously, even Aubameyang and Lacazette, I love the pair of them. But last night, on Wednesday night, was poor from both of them. We had chances and they let them slip.
Richard, there was no supply line. Ozil was doing sweet.
Exactly, and that is all down to Ozil. He hasn't done nothing in the past couple of times, the years that he's been here. He's in, as Raul said in the interview, the players who are on their last 2 years of their contract, they have to make a decision whether to renew or sell. Ozil's got 2 years left. Ozil needs to go.
Who's going to buy him? Who's going to take him on that?
I don't care who buys him. I don't care who buys him. Even if we let him go on a release, I don't care. I want him gone.
Don't play him anymore as well.
But then you're going to get, Ozil fanboys complaining that Emery is treating our star player badly. Because I think
fuck off, man.
Towards the beginning of the season, Emery was doing that because he was demanding more for Ozil. He was demanding more from Ozil.
Now you know why.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Honestly, Alex, what have I said about Mesut Ozil for the last few months now, right? The guy is not... When it's all going well, he's fantastic. When we're up against it and we're counting on someone to dig us out the shit, does he do it? No. No, he never does it. It's not the system. It's not the manager. It's the player.
Yeah.
If you're having to make constant excuses for a player who had, let's be real here, has had 1 half good season since he's been here, then it's not the manager that's the problem, is it?
No.
It's not the system. It's the fucking player.
Yeah.
And yet you'll have still, and this is what hurts my brain. You will have these fucking idiots defend Mesut Ozil with stats and key passes and pass ratio and amount of assists and Oh my God.
And no luck passes.
Let me just open your eyes for a minute, right? The only stat that matters is goals.
Goals. Yeah.
He does nothing. These people seem to think he's the best number 10 in the world. Are you having a laugh? Are you actually having a
Ozil
laugh?
just blooming turns up whenever he bloody feels like it, and
I'll
we
tell you
need
who's
players
the best
that are
number
on
10
it.
in the world, right? And has been for... And this guy has been the best number 10 since he joined Man City, right? David Silva. He's the best number 10 in the world. Not Mesut Ozil, David fucking Silva. And I'll take 9 of him tomorrow.
And they're the same age, Colin, roughly.
Exactly. David Silva contributes more than Mesut Ozil. They're the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Number 10s are dead in football now. Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10s are box to box. Look at City. Look at their midfield. Fernandinho, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, David Silva. You tell me not one of them tracks back? I guarantee you they do. Because if they don't, Guardiola will have them for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liverpool, Fabinho, Henderson,
Milner. Do you think Guardiola would do something with this Arsenal squad, Colin?
Fuck no.
He'd get rid of him. He would have gotten rid of him.
Yeah.
He would have gotten rid of him. Deadwood out of the door.
Me have half of them gone by fucking July.
Yeah.
What does Ralph have to say?
Well, I'm getting to him. Ralph, being so patient.
Okay. All right. I'm going to start a kind of like little speech. I love this team since 71. And at the beginning of the year, Alex and I was at the Emirates and hugged up to my all-time hero, Charlie George. I didn't think I ever see the guy. I saw the guy on TV, saw him walking down Islington High Street, but to actually have my arm around him, one of my heroes. And the thing about him was that he was a hard player, but he was casual, but he scored goals when he had to. He was in a team that worked hard. That was the bottom line. They worked hard. When Alex and I was down the pub, the Highbury pub on Wednesday night, I said to Alex I was nervous. And I said to him, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. The guys at work have been ribbing me all week. And I have to tell you something honest. I was one of the guys, Alex would testify to this. I said, we're paying Ozil a wage. And he has to play. The guy doesn't show up for not just big matches, small matches. He doesn't show up. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I'm not an accountant. I don't know what he does with his money. But there must come a time as a professional player that when you cross that line, you represent. You've got fans singing your name. You put that all to the side. You're there with your teammates. You're playing football. It's not brain surgery. It's not heart surgery. You're not going out to try and save a life. You're not a fireman. You're not in the army. This is football. You train. All the videos that we've seen of them training. At the end of the first half, I said to Alex, these guys look knackered. They look proper knackered. And the second half, it showed. I'm sure all of us here tonight and those who are watching, if we was on the pitch for 5-10 minutes, we may be knackered, but we'd give it our all. We would be dragged off the pitch. What I saw on Wednesday was a total, it's a climax of the way that Arsenal has been, not for the last 5 years, it's 10 years. 10 years. My daughter is 12. For 10 of her years, I've seen this team decline from when it was invincibles And let's put it this way: Arsene Wenger is comparable. Gazidis is comparable. It's all good to us blaming Stan Kroenke. We know Stan Kroenke is not going to give us any money.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's not going to give us any money. There's no point thinking, all right, Unai's going to have this conversation with him. The man is in his ranch. He doesn't know nothing about what the score is. Maybe his son might have told him because his son was there. But we were there. The fans who traveled out to Baku were there. And those who couldn't make it watched it. And we watched the way the team disintegrated. You had kids crying, and you're telling me that you can't even think, hang a minute now, there's something wrong. There's something wrong in this club. And you're sitting at the top and you're watching it capitulate. If you put capitulate in the dictionary, you're going to see the Arsenal team.
Yeah.
Because every time I have a conversation with fans, they all say capitulation. There's no guts. There's no steel. There's none of us putting the opposition to the wall. Watford put us under with 10 men at home. There's something wrong.
But then, like I said to you, on Wednesday, maybe this is the best thing that could happen, because if we did win the Europa League Cup final, it'd have been papering all over the cracks.
Alex,
but at least now, Henry can go to Kroenke and say,
let me say this.
Have to deal with.
Let me say this to all of you guys. How many times have you heard we'll take the positives out of this? How many times have you heard we're going to learn from this? How many times have you heard, well, it's young players? We had Wilshere, who was injured half the time. If we had creative players, if we had game management, all these they're all excuses. It's all, pardon my French, but it's all bollocks. At the end of the day. No one's standing up and saying, it's my fault. Everyone's hiding, ducking and diving and bobbing and weaving. But we still pay. We don't go nowhere. We carry this. The players can go. They can go off. They can sulk. They can tweet. And then next day, they're back to training again because they're getting the wage.
Checking their bank
balance. The only person I see that was hurting was Torreira. And the guy just come fresh in. Do you think any of his Uruguayan teammates would have given up the way that we gave up?
What's a different mentality?
And he's 21.
It's a different mentality. And Colin said that many times before, that it's down to the mentality. We don't have the right, I don't know.
But the manager, I'm not blaming Unai. The manager has allowed this mediocrity to settle for far too long. And top four, we're safe. Top four, we're safe. Top four, we're safe.
You mean under Arsene Wenger?
Arsene Wenger, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Under Arsene Wenger, it was all safe. The only thing that's brought it out more into the open is the fact that now with social media, we've got a voice. But is that voice actually getting to where it's got to get to? The man at the top is looking down, and as far as he's concerned, all's rosy. So,
Ray, I mean, where do we go from here, Ray? Richard did say that he can see things getting a lot worse. Where does Arsenal go from here? Where do we go from here?
Right. Before the final, Emery knew what he had. He knows the players. This was the season of discovering the players. You have the 5 captains, whatever. He knows who he needs to get rid of now. It's just a matter of if we can get rid of them. So where do we go forward? We really should start with the kids next season. We need to get rid of a lot of this team. Emery's tried it with the experienced players. The team is top heavy with players that are coming to the end of their career. They're too comfortable and everything's too nice for them. So we need to get rid of 10 players, as many as we can. We all know the candidates. We need to go into the transfer market, get a centre back, get a left back, and maybe a midfielder. and sprinkle some of those loanies coming back and some kids that have done quite well. Mix the team up a little bit, put some more pressure on established players, competition for places, and start over next season, because it didn't work with the so-called experienced players. And that's what I think we should do next season.
It's funny you should say that, because actually London Old School, who's a regular I know on your channel, Ray,
yeah,
he's just come into the chat and he says, perfect time, he says, time to bring in Smith Rowe, Willock, Saka, Mavropanos. The only chance we have got is youth. George Graham built a young team from nothing. Stan won't give us any funds.
What have we got to lose? We didn't have a Moyesian year, but we had a bad year. We just missed out on Champions League this year. We got to wait another year now. I think we need to blood some young players.
Yeah.
Another thing I have to mention is how patient other fans are, because we have been very patient. We've been patient. Are we gonna? Are you saying that we're gonna have to like take it now and think? Because I said to Alex yesterday that I think what we should be just focusing on is just getting into the top 4. Forget about all the cups. If you're gonna when we go into the cups, put the youngsters in, throw the youngsters in, give them some experience, but don't build your hopes on the FA Cup or the Carabao or the Europa. Just concentrate everything now, as we should have done this season, in just securing top 4, because we was a point off top 4 this time round. If we secure top 4, then everything else to me is a bonus, and then we can build on that for the seasons to come. But forget about the cups for the coming season coming in. Let's just secure ourselves with the top 4. But the fans now have to start being. There's no point being decisive. There's no point fighting amongst ourselves or whatever. Let's try and solidify, backing the youngsters, but being patient, because it's I know how fickle we can be. We go on a run, and then also when we start going on a dip, that's when you start getting the real fans coming out and start criticizing. So if we can just put it on side.
Sorry to cut you in. You said literally we need to try and solidify that top 4 position there. But Richard, realistically, if we do go into the Champions League next season, what is this group of players really going to achieve in the Champions League? What are they going to do?
Nothing. We're just going to get to the last 16 and fade out again, like it has been. I'm sorry, but in these players that we've got, I've got no confidence in them, because I've seen it year after year after year. When was the last time we had a player that actually played for the shirt and didn't care about the wages? When was who was the last player that actually cared about the club, who went out there week in, week out with blood, sweat and tears and fighted for our name?
But I would say Lacazette. Lacazette gives 100%.
Exactly. But I mean, out of all the other players that we've got, how many players can you name out of the whole squad that will go out the week after week and play for that badge?
Not many.
It's mentality. That's what's the problem. Steve Bold, he needs to go, because he's clearly not doing fuck all with the defence. What did he stick around for?
He should have gone when Wenger went.
Exactly. I'm just sick and tired of the way Arsenal have been. I'm just sick of it.
Heartbreaking.
I would honestly play the whole youngsters for next season.
And
play like Torreira, Lacazette, and Aubameyang and Socrates, because they are, and Lino. Those are the players that deserve it.
I think you will have buy-in from the supporters as well if you do that.
You think so, Ray?
Yeah. Most reasonable supporters, not the fanboys and all that stuff. Most reasonable supporters will see we're going a different route.
The problem is with the fan base, we want instant success. We can't deal with defeat and failure.
That doesn't happen, man. Like, honestly, like, Alex, I've said this before, right? Success comes to people that work hard for it. Right? with this group of players, can you name me, honestly, can you name me any players in this current first 11 outside of Leno, Torreira, Lacazette, maybe Aubameyang, and Socrates that work hard?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the problem. We don't have players that are prepared to work hard to give us what we want as fans. Perfect example of that, Wednesday night. That's all I needed to know. I've got no faith in these drop horses. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. They can all do one as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, they can do one. I don't care. I do not give a fuck. And do you know what? Richard's actually got it bang on by, playing the youngsters, actually. Because at least they'll show a little bit of pride.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Willock showed more pride than Ozil did Wednesday night, for fuck's sake. Like,
They could have had goals.
They have no fear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no fear.
Exactly. You've got a young kid in Joe Willock, right, who is trying to make his name at Arsenal, right? Comes on the pitch, European final where the lights are on bright. He tried and he gave everything. I can't fault him for that. I can't. Ozil is experienced and yet he doesn't do that. Where's the logic there? Like, seriously.
He's got no incentive. He's got no incentive to try or do anything.
I really feared when we played three at the back, not to make excuses for Ozil, but there was no midfield behind Ozil. That's what I feared. And I knew this would happen. I wanted Guendouzi in midfield and go four at the back.
Yeah. So
because Ozil is not going to do anything.
The thing is, we don't have the players to play.
Do you know what I want, right? I want three in midfield. Fuck it. Three in midfield, right? Because I remember last season specifically, right, that I said that it was a myth that Arsenal can play three at the back, right? Over the last 12 months, I've been proven right. Well, actually, it's longer than that. But my point still stands, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no supply from the midfield.
Nothing.
Like, when we play three at the back.
There's no goals from midfield.
You look at our midfield, right, when we play three at the back. Who's normally in there? Xhaka,
Torreira.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I love Torreira to bits. I do. For fuck's sake, he's on the back of my phone case. But
he gave us the moment of the season.
But he just doesn't. He's not meant to be that playmaker.
He's not that player.
He's meant to be box to box because that's what he is, right?
Yeah.
Xhaka is a deep lying playmaker, and more often than not, he gives the ball away more times than I care to remember. Please tell me where the creativity is coming from. Nowhere. Nowhere. Ozil's having to drop deep because honestly, Ozil's having to drop deep because he's having to go towards the ball, right? But
we've got two strikers that are trying to score goals between them. There's no creativity outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because the problem is, right? One of the strikers is having to drop deep and get the ball and give it to the other one. Like, instead of the two of them staying in like towards the edge of the box where they should be, right?
Yeah.
One of them's having to come back to midfield to get the ball and lay it off. That's never going to work. Ever.
They're taking turns of being wingers, in effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the way I see it, right, and I've said this for a while, and Alex can back me up here. We need a new partner for Torreira in midfield.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In fact, that'd be one of my first positions I'd go for. We need wingers because we have no width. We need at least two or three centre backs, in my opinion.
Mm.
And that's
We
being
need a left
hopeful.
and right.
And that's being hopeful. We need a left back because Kolasinac is useless.
Yeah.
Don't really care about his attacking play. His defensive play is dreadful.
Mm.
And by the way, did you notice on Wednesday night, right, the amount of times he could have whipped a ball into the box?
Yeah.
He stood there and just waited.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, that pissed me off, man.
Mm.
But Richard, when we spoke, you said that you would have gone for a back three, didn't you?
I would have done because I know that we needed more people behind the line for Chelsea coming to the attack. But even with a back three, we still can't push them the other way.
Yeah, well, we don't have the players, I think, who can fit in that system.
Why do we have to buy prima donnas? Because these well-known names just can't seem to perform. Why can't we buy people from like lower league teams, like maybe like a team like Stoke? Because those type of players, they show fight, they show this blood, sweat, and tears every time they go out.
We might be shopping in that area, Richard.
Yeah.
It's like as if Arsenal has got two different transfer market money. We've got two separate, one for the Champions League, one for the Europa League. That's pretty much what we've got. It's like I was reading like saying that we was gonna try and get Sahar, but because of the we didn't qualify for Champions League, none of them are coming. Who we're trying to get. So
no, but I think Arsenal still, we're still, an attractive name to come to. Thank God. I think we've still got that behind us. But you're right. The attraction of being in the Champions League it has to be a major pull. But I think again, what happened on Wednesday night kind of laid it all bare. What everyone's had to deal with. These bunch of, as Colin says, drop asses. It's probably the best thing that could happen to us. We won that 22 unbeaten run in all competitions. And I think our expectations went through the roof, probably wrongly. But this is probably the best thing that could happen. That everything was laid out there.
I think in the sense, Alex, that when we went on that run, let's face it, after the season that we had before, when Arsene decided to leave, and to get Unai coming in, and then to lose those two matches, Man City and Chelsea first off, and then to just go on a run, it just gave us optimism. It gave us a belief that that was the right direction that the club was going. We had this manager in for 20 odd years, and he couldn't see the wood for the trees in the end, because he felt that his philosophy was still rule out, as it were, despite the two cups, FA Cups he managed to secure, but not making the team viable enough to challenge for the Premiership. So when Unai went on that run, I think it was fair to say that all of us was thinking, okay, well, this is just validates where we should be going. It's just the fact that when we had Holding injured, and then when we had Bellerin injured, and then we had Koscielny injured, all the resources that we was hoping to have, it just capitulated. There we go again. We were scrambling, and we was putting players in the defensive roles that they're not fit for. It's not designed for them, and we kind of win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And when it came to the business end, Unai Emery was thinking, you know what? Actually, we may have this. I put all my eggs in one basket with something that I do know how to win. But at the back of his mind, he must have known that it was a big gamble, and unfortunately, the players didn't come to the table. They crapped out on him.
But look at the bench. Look at the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was going to come off the bench and make the big statement and the big difference? There was no one on the bench.
No
strength and depth in the squad at all. Nobody.
We've gone from a team that had, we want to try and see if we can try and put this youngster in amongst the likes of Vieira and Bergkamp, to now it's like, well, who do we have? because it's such a massive drop. Our strength in depth has disappeared over a period of time. So the 22-run match was a good thing, and again, I think, as you were saying, it's shown us now where we are at this moment in time. But again and again and again, we've been down this route so many times that it's got to come from the top, and we know it's not going to come from the top. So now we have to start going down the lower leagues to try and get try and find a Koulibaly. How are we going to get a Koulibaly from a lower league?
Well, we did it.
Koulibaly ain't happening, lads. He's going to cost 100
That's what I'm saying.
minimum.
It's a diamond in the rough. Diamond in the rough.
We found Holding from Bolton.
That's what Arsenal managed to do. He managed to find maybe 4 players, put them in the team. He already had the back 4. The back 4 was already solidified when he came in. There's the sweeper, midfield, and attack. He brought a winger from Juventus, from Inter, I think it might have been. No, from Juventus, to become a striker.
Juventus, yeah.
So he had that kind of knack. Now Unai Emery he must know what team he wants, what players he wants. It's actually finding them in the lower leagues. We don't have that financial clout like the Man Cities and the Man Uniteds.
Listen, before I go into the chat, I want to ask Ray a question. Ray, do you think, with all this melee and the mess at Arsenal, do you think Unai Emery will walk away from Arsenal? Do you think he'll walk away?
I don't think he will walk away. I don't think he's that type of manager. There's not many coaches that would do that, I think, in world football. But he's going to be pushed if he can't be allowed to do what he needs to do this summer. You would think seriously about it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well,
but,
so
a point, just to add on to what Ralph said, and then I'm going to be leaving, unfortunately. The squad depth, that's what happened. We lost Holding, we lost Bellerin, we lost Welbeck. We didn't do anything in January, so we've gone from, in that time, when we converted Thierry Henry from Juventus into a striker, not one of the best paying clubs, to now being one of the better paying clubs. And we've sort of stymied ourselves salary-wise with the dearth of talent, experienced talent that we have that are really not producing anything. And we need to get rid of the bottom 10 players that are not only performing badly or not performing at all, but also they're sucking the life out of Arsenal salary-wise.
Yeah.
But with that, I have to bid everybody a farewell.
Ray, I want to say thank you for coming on to the Easy Talk. Your first appearance on the.
It was a lot of fun.
TV. Good, and make sure you subscribe to Arsenal Fan Circle. I think I've left the link for Ray's channel in the comments box. If I haven't, I'll make sure it's in there. But Ray, again, thanks for coming on the Easy Talk. A little bit heated. But
thanks, Alan. Thanks, Ralph. Alex,
thanks, Ray.
Ralph,
Colin,
Colin, and Richard. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Have a good evening.
You guys enjoy the rest of it.
Right. Okay. So, like I said, I've left the link for Ray's channel, Arsenal Fan Circle, as well as Colin's Much FM, Ralph's Twitter handle, Ralph for Real, and Richard's Arsenal TV. All those links are in the comments box. So before we just continue a little bit more and get into the chat, there's been so many comments in the chat. At the start, Colin did go through a list of players that he wanted to get rid of. And Jose Donko says, Kolasinac, sling it. El Neni, sling it. Jenkinson, sling it. That's about 9 players, damn near the starting 11 and reserves. Start the kids next season, suffer for a while. The only bad thing about the fickle fan, because like I said before, the fans will want success.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that the rumor is false. Griezmann is going to sort of make sense. I'm not sure what he means by that. Liabilities and casualties have done their time, like we said, with all the injuries. Holding, Bellerin, So that had an effect on us as well. Ainsley Maitland-Niles has shown potential in the position, including in big games. He has had no help from the other experienced players. Believe Elneny has faith in the. Sorry, Emery has faith in the youth. He's taken quite a few with the first team across Europe. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Upload the lot of them, well, at least 5, between 5 and 10 players. And the last one before we just quickly kind of continue. The only reason he didn't get the same praise, a spotlight because he came from Malaga and Ozil came from Madrid. That's a good point. And the last one, this one goes out to Colin. Do you think Claude from Arsenal Fan TV is crazy if he wants Emery out already? Not his fault. This is Arsene Wenger's team. Colin.
I mean, I don't think Claude is crazy. I don't think he's crazy. I know Claude off like from other shows I've done and whatnot. He's a nice guy and everything. I felt like he jumped the gun a little bit. I do feel that. I mean, I've not told him this, but I do feel he jumped the gun. I also feel that anyone that does want Emery out is jumping the gun also. I'm still behind this manager.
Yeah, likewise.
Until he gives me a reason not to be, I will back him to the hilt. Right? And for people saying, oh, we don't know our best starting 11, we don't know what our style is, I'm just like, well, maybe that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Because that makes us hard to kind of
figure out,
combat in a sense. And on the starting 11 thing, right, there's no such thing as the perfect starting 11. There's no such thing, right? You have a starting 11 that is suited to a specific game, right? Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But what I would like Emery to do is ship out the players that are not good enough, right?
Yeah.
And I think he will. We're looking at a max exodus in the summer. I really do think that. And to be honest with you, I'll be fucking delighted because the majority of these players, like some of the chat were saying, right, there's been improvements. Niles he's shown potential this season. Iwobi's improved. I know people don't like to hear that because it's very easy to bash Iwobi nowadays. But Iwobi has improved and he's been one of our better players this season. Yeah, I know. Not popular thought, is it? I didn't think so. But when you compare it to like the more experienced players, and again I'm babbling on here, but people seem to forget how bad we were last season. And let's not forget, like the chat said, this is still Arsene Wenger's team. It's going to take more than a decade. It's going to take more than a season to eradicate 13 years of bullshit. Like, really? What do people want? Instant success?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
I've got news for you. Instant success doesn't exist. It's not like at the snap of your fingers, you can just say to yourself, oh, I've achieved something. No, you have to work for it. You have to work for it. How do you think I've gotten to where I am now? So I worked for it. How do you think Alex has got to where he is? Because he's worked for it. Instant success doesn't happen, lads, right? So get that thought out of your heads.
And it just brings me on to the next comment here, again from London Old School. He says that we need players with hunger. These players have got so comfortable. There is no hunger to win. Throw the youngsters in. We have got nothing to lose at this point. Spot on, London Old School. Spot on.
Yep.
Richard, I mean, you know, I know you did say before that We could probably, throw in the youngsters, but at what cost? At what cost?
Well, as Colin said, what have we got to lose? We've got nothing to lose at this day and age because, as I said, I feel like that this team is going to get worse. It is. I honestly feel it's going to get from bad to worse. Stan Kroenke calls himself an owner. He is not he's not a businessman. There's even Vince McMahon, the WWE chairman. He's even said that Stan Kroenke, he should be dead. He should be arrested. So why have we employed this person as part of the owner of Arsenal? He's taking money from us.
Well, then
I reckon Arsenal fans should boycott the Emirates as from next season. It's the only way we're going to be heard.
Richard,
and get our Arsenal back.
Richard, I've heard that argument before. The problem is you have maybe
waiting list
20,000 people who won't go to the stadium, but there's another 20,000 people waiting to take a spot there. The last time I was at the Emirates, you would see the video I did with Ray from Arsenal Fan Circle. No word of a lie. The people behind must have changed maybe 3 or 4 times, and they were tourists. They were tourists. So, that idea is good, but in principle, it's not going to work because there's a bucket load, there's a coach load of other people dying to get into the Emirates to see Arsenal play. That's the problem.
Do you know what? I honestly, personally think that we are being robbed as fans. Let's be honest. We are. Yeah. We are being completely robbed as fans.
Oh, we're being mugged on a daily basis.
Yeah. And then we've got players that are in this club that doesn't give a shit about us fans. Not one player has come out and said, "I'm sorry, we played like a bunch of wankers last night."
Would you believe them?
Not
they did
one.
That? Like, really? I don't listen. I'm not pissed off that not one of them has said we played like a bunch of cunts on social media. Yes. Yes. But if we're honest, are any of us here tonight going to believe a single word that they say? Because I won't.
No.
The way I see it, you do your talking on the pitch.
Yeah.
And from what I saw Wednesday night, they simply said to us fans, we don't care. We're a bunch of cunts. We'll do what we like. It's that simple.
But the only thing I will criticise Emery for that he took the Crystal Palace game too easily. He took it too easily because at that point, top 4 was still on for us. What he should have done was not focus about the Europa League. What he should have done, he should have focused on that game and still put out the same players like he would have done for the Europa League. He should have made sure that we had that Champions League spot in the Premier League before going to that European final. Because even if we lost that European final, at least we still would have had Champions League.
Richard, we had many opportunities to secure that top 4 space.
Yeah.
There. I don't think
so then we've only got ourselves to blame.
Well, absolutely.
It's the players.
Yeah.
That's the sum total. We've only got ourselves to blame. Because we had many chances to secure that top 4 space there. It's not any one game that was, that caused the implosion. We had many opportunities to secure that 4 position there. And like I said before, it's probably the best thing that could happen that we didn't make top 4. We didn't, win the Europa League because it is what it is. The Premier League does not lie. We are not a top 4 team, Richard.
Nope.
It doesn't lie. It is what it is. And it's the
it's like
that now Kroenke, for me, we need to get that monkey off our back. That we're going to Kroenke, begging for money. It's not going to happen. He's not going to give us anything.
Even if he could, we couldn't buy anyone.
Of course, yeah, we can't.
Because the wages are, honestly, the wages at this football club are too high. That's the problem. Like, Stan Kroenke could give us 500 million tomorrow we still wouldn't be able to spend it.
We can't use it. Yeah, for the fair play, financial fair play. What we do have to do is get shot of these players, like Colin said.
Yeah.
The long list of players that we need to get out of the door. Once we've done that, then we can start to reinvest some of the money, buy some players. But until then, don't put your hopes on Kroenke giving us any money because A, he's a
Ain't
tight
gonna happen.
and two, of the FFP rules.
No, I don't think.
That, right?
I don't.
Another example, right, that I'm going to put forward, right? Liverpool's owners, right? They don't invest their own money into the club. They don't, right? But what they do so well is they're astute with how they spend, right? They sold Coutinho for what was it, about
140 million?
Yeah, 140 million, right?
Okay.
What did Liverpool do? They're smart, so they reinvest that money in Van Dijk. They reinvest that money in Alisson, right? They reinvest that money in Shaqiri. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Liverpool, since Klopp arrived, have been astute with how they've spent their money. That's the difference between us and them. We've been frivolous with our money. We've spent it on garbage for...
That's true.
I can't even... honestly, I can't even count how long we've spent it on garbage. Like, you're never, ever going to be a top team like that. Ever. It's not going to happen.
Colin, despite what we did way back when, we had crappier players 10 years ago that kept us in the top 4. So if we had crappier players 10 years ago that kept us in the top 4, what have we got now? It just goes to show that we don't have we don't have quality players, and we are out of the top 4. It's like a kid looking in the window. We're the kid looking in the window from the outside.
I'll tell you what it is, Raz. Yeah, the top 6, right? From your Cities, Liverpool's, Chelsea's, Tottenham's, and United's, right? Those 4 that got into the Champions League, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, even that lot, all have better squads than us.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's bottom line.
Do you know what? It's come full circle in a way, really, because back in the day, listen, I've grown up on United and Arsenal fighting it out for the title, right? And why it's come full circle is both United and Arsenal squads are exactly the same. Garbage. Garbage. We're just as bad as each other. So I guess you could look at it that way, in that kind of point of view. I don't know. But listen, if we're going to compete again, we've got to be more astute with our money. We can't be spending it like fucking dimes in a fucking sweet shop. And that's what we've been fucking doing for the last couple of years. It's just been honestly, it's one of those things where you watch it and you just think, why? It makes no sense whatsoever.
I think with us, it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, downward spiral, more like.
Yeah, that's how I've looked at it.
Here's the thing, Richard, right? The only reason I would say, right, that we may not get worse, right? I can see 6 or 7 going into the summer. Legit.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I'm hoping.
Why. But it really depends on who we get in. Like, there's this Munier lad from PSG I don't know an awful lot about. I mean, we have to get right back in anyway because Lichtsteiner's going.
Yeah.
But does that mean that Maitland-Niles is going to move central? Kind of. Yes, I don't know. Maybe.
Colin.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Colin. There's a comment that's just come into the chat from Chelsea Donko, and he claims, or he's saying that Mustafi was the Premier League's record fee for a defender.
Oh, someone killed me now. Seriously, if anyone of you knows, I can hang myself from. No.
Brilliant.
All joking aside, right? I love that comment from Jalsa, right? Because it highlights my point on what I was saying earlier. We've been spending our money on garbage.
Yeah.
Right. So, Jalsa, from me to you, cheers for making my point even more clear than I already did.
But instead of going to abroad to get players, why don't we just get in Premier League proven? Then they haven't got to adapt.
As long as we can afford them, because you know.
Yeah. That's the bottom line. Who do you think is going to come to our club after what happened on Wednesday night? Who do you think is going to come in and say, you know what, actually, I can see myself slotting right there and become, I wouldn't say just like an Arsenal legend, but I can improve the team. Who do you think is going to come from the Premiership?
You know what? I'd take just about anyone.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about Ryan Fraser, that the deal might have been done, or we're still in talks with him.
I'll tell you what, I'd take Ryan Fraser all day long, bro.
Yeah, so would I. I'll take Maddison as well, to be honest.
Honestly,
for our midfield.
Ryan Fraser might not be like upper echelon, yeah, but what he will do, he will run out of defense. He will. Like, and we like that. The way I see it, I'm like, as long as they fit into Unai Emery's plan, I'm like, you know what? Fine. Bring it on. I'll take just about anyone right now.
Okay, let's quickly go back into the chat before we start to wrap up this segment of Easy Talk. Chelsea Donko says, Premier League players are inflated and overrated. I'm not for all this Zaha crap. He's no better than Iwobi, but just has pace. Then London Old School says Madrid and Valencia are still laughing at us.
Well, there we go.
He goes and says Fraser will put in the shift, Premiership proven. Yeah, it goes to Richard's point that we need to buy players that are proven already in the Premier League. And one more here from London Old School says that don't underestimate the likes of Kroenke. He's a hardened businessman, a proper cutthroat. Cutthroat.
Let me say something about because I believe Richard said that how he's not a businessman. His wife, I think we did cover this a while back.
Yeah.
That his wife is she's part of the family that owns Walmart in America. So the family is rich. So it's beyond rich, you know, multi-millionaires or billionaires. So they've got money. The only thing that I say about Kroenke, from what I can see, is not they call him Silent Stan. They don't call him Silent Stan for nothing. He's like that figure in the background. You know he's there, but you don't know what he does. Okay, so for him to have this amount of money and wealth and to have LA Rams successful, they could have won the I'm trying to think of the name of the Super Bowl last year. He's got ranches, is mega rich, so he's doing something. He's doing something. We had a Russian billionaire, Usmanov, who was far richer than Abramovich. And the thing that grates me still is the fact that we had two billionaires at the club. One had the majority shares and one had a part share. But the one who had the part share, Usmanov, knew about the team. He went to the matches. He was present when Kroenke wasn't. And in a sense, Arsenal didn't back Usmanov, they backed Kroenke. So Gazidis people who are at the club who had the shares and decide to give their shares to Kroenke, they're comparable as well. They're responsible. They could be sitting in the lap of luxury, maybe in Monaco or wherever they are, watching this story unfold. But they are just as responsible as Kroenke. Kroenke is the shadow in the background, but it's the people leading up to Kroenke. Gazidis, you had Chips Keswick, you've got Lady Bracewell Smith. She owned shares in the club as well.
Don't leave David Dean out of that.
David Dean.
Yeah.
David Dean as well.
David Dean did as well.
Yeah. So their little part cameos has put us where we are at this moment in time. And if you have a billionaire saying, look, I know what is wrong with the club, I'm willing to buy the club from you, and the other billionaire says, well, no, because I know what it's worth, and it doesn't matter what you're going to give to me, I'm not going to take it. That's where he is. He's got 100% of the share. He doesn't have to go to any AGMs. It doesn't matter what we say. We could not go to the club. We could not buy T-shirts. We don't have to go and eat any food or anything. He doesn't care because someone on the line, money's been pumped into the club. The only thing that's going to happen to him, and I don't wish this on anyone, but if he was to expire, his son's going to get to step into his shoes. And we have to
say about that, Raj, is Josh actually does, you know, I'm not gonna say he cares about the club, right? Because he doesn't. But he will take action, whereas his dad won't.
Well, his dad is just there.
Exactly. Like, he's just there. But the thing is, right, this is what I was saying earlier, right? You rarely see owners, well, you rarely see your owner of a company, right, kind of, you know, around, right? They're within the fucking business. You just don't know where they are.
No.
Right? Now, with Liverpool's owners, you rarely hear from them. Yet not a damn word said. Right? There's not many owners now in the Premier League that come out and make statements. And you know what? It's funny because these same people, right, that are Kroenke out vividly, right? These are the same people that were like, oh, we don't want Usmanov. We don't want a sugar daddy. We want to have a self-sustaining model. And in the same breath, demanding that the club spend over 200 million.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's so backwards. It's not even funny. Like, personally, I don't really care what model we go for, as long as we're successful. If we're successful by the self-sustaining model, great. If it's by pumping money into the club, great. Don't care either way. All I want to see is a bit of action, because I'm hearing a lot of this.
Yeah, exactly.
At the top of the club, right? I don't want this. I want this. Do things. Don't
Two things.
Do.
Two things that you mentioned. You said about self-sustaining, and it was one of the main features that was amongst their AGM or something, how the club is self-sustaining and all this metric system and all this kind of BS. For something to be self-sustaining, you have to make an investment. Self-sustainability doesn't just happen by itself. You've got to have the investment to push it along, and then over a period of time, you can withdraw the investment because the model will start building on its own success, as it were. The second part of it is the fact that did anyone see the video from? I'm trying to get those two guys. Ravi,
Venkasham, and
yeah,
Salini. Yeah.
Okay. So I was watching them, and you have to look at Arsenal from a different kind of angle. I'm trying not to laugh, but you have to watch Arsenal at a different kind of angle, because if you can go back maybe 3-4 seasons ago, when we knew what was going on and we want people out and all this kind of clamour, the ticket prices came up behind promotions for the new kit. Then we managed to get Petr Cech, or we got Ozil. Okay. And then the clamour died down a little bit. Then all of a sudden, towards the end, we want Wenger out. And then that came up, and we got Wenger out, and we got somebody else in. But then we had 1 or 2 players come. We had Aubameyang come in, and Lacazette was just performing, as it were, but he used to be substituted, and we were thinking, hang on a minute now, Lacazette is not fit enough, but he's become fitter. All of a sudden now, you've got these 2 guys coming in. This is where I'm thinking Stan Kroenke is the shadow. He's in the background. He's got these 2 guys coming in, talking about the way that the Arsenal club is going to become more sustainable. We understand now the women's team is quite successful. They're all trying to appeal to our senses. Don't get misled or fooled by this, because the ticket prices are going to jump up again, right? I've got mates who are season ticket holders, and they're holding on to it because they want to see some action now. So if there's a mass exodus of players, just watch out for the season tickets. That's what I'm going to say to you, because all this nicey approach kind of thing is coming up again. I don't think it's going to wash.
No, but
I'm hoping it doesn't wash.
But I said, once I saw the first or second part of their exclusive interview, that, you know, people are judged by their deeds, not by their words. So
exactly,
they talk a good talk. They need to walk the walk.
Yeah.
You know, like you say, we paid the highest for our season ticket prices. I would love to go and see Arsenal every home game, but I can't afford to go every match because the prices are just so expensive.
What I'm just saying is that we have to start watching at an angle the way that the board, the marketing and everything else is being angled in order for us to try and get the tickets. Because again, once they got their allocated tickets, it wouldn't matter if the team was to go sideways or we're on a great run and then we dip again. We're going to start pointing fingers. We've got to start pointing fingers at the right person. I think that those who are saying about, we want Unai Emery out, these are some fans. I don't care who you are, where you are. You guys don't understand then the full history of Arsenal. If you're wanting this manager to come out because we haven't gotten to where we've got to get to, you don't understand the fact that we have been suffering for 10 plus years from a manager who didn't want to leave in the end. He had to be pushed to go. So if you don't understand that history and you want Unai Emery out, don't tweet, don't YouTube, don't say anything. Go to the match and start supporting the team proper. Stand amongst the fans. Stop talking, start supporting.
I'll go say one thing. I think, Colin, when does Edu take up the position? Because I know he's still out with Brazil, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's July he comes in.
Yeah.
So it'll be. Well, I think I don't know the actual date, but it's nearer the end of July than it is the beginning of the month. I think. Don't quote me on that. Someone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be. Don't really know. However, the way I see it, I mean, we've all seen the leaked kits, and I'm not going to lie, they look really, really nice. They do.
Yeah.
But
I won't be buying it, though.
But until I see some action, I'm not buying one. Right? Because the last couple of years, I've skipped out on buying any kit whatsoever. And usually I have this tradition of buying the home kit. But I've not done that for a few years because I wasn't happy with what was going on. And that mentality or, idea, I'm sticking to that unless I see action.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Likewise.
Like, unless I see players that will improve.
Wholesale changes.
Unless I see changes, and I mean a max exodus, right? And players come in that fit what Unai Emery wants to do, I'm not buying one.
Okay, so quickly go back into the chat. Sorry, Cole. Well, so we've got London Old School who says Ozil has 2 assists this season. Fraser got 14 assists and 7 goals playing for Bournemouth. So then Josie says exactly. But what classifies as proven in the Premier League? What classifies as a proven player in the Premier League, Richard? How do you classify a player? He's proven because he's played in the Premier League. How do you classify that, Richard?
I don't know. I think it goes by how many goals or how many assists they can get, and their work rate. Now, Emery wants players that can run, and Fraser runs. He puts in the hard work compared to what Mesut Ozil has done in the 5-6 years he's been here. Ozil only turns up when he wants to turn up. Whereas Fraser will turn up week in, week out. So, and with Fraser, he's mainly been in the Premier League. Mainly, whereas Mesut Ozil's been over at Spain.
Yeah.
So, in my case, it depends on where you've played the majority of the time in your footballing career. And the way I'm looking at Arsenal at the moment, why Stan Kroenke is in charge, I think it's just going to get worse. I cannot see us getting Champions League football next season. And I'm being completely honest. And I don't think we will get far in Europa League next season because I don't think the draw will be as easy as it was this season.
I don't think it was.
Until these players prove something to say that they want to be here and fight for that badge, then I've got no confidence in these players until they go.
All right, so quickly back in the chat before I do wrap up this segment of Easytalk. Josie, he's put a lot of comments, and just I'm very, very thankful that you came in to the Easytalk chat. And he says that Zaha is the case Premiership proven. Then I don't want the geezer. With the likes of Laka and Aubameyang being starved of service, Ozil's 2 assists are not good enough. Fraser with quality around him is worth the gamble. But I'm in for Fraser as long as we're not breaking the bank. I'm not asking for superstars. Okay. And then
that's a good point actually, because Man United have gone down the superstar route and that's not worked out for them.
It works at all.
So I can see where Giles is coming from with the no superstars kind of, outlook, and it's a valid point. Ryan Fraser, I think, it's worth the gamble. Like, what have we got to lose at this point? Like,
how much are you rated at? How much is that? What's the price tag for?
I have no idea. He's done well this season, though. Like, more than any of our players. And on the fucking Ozil thing, Alex Iwobi, I think, has got 9 assists this season. I don't know. I might be wrong, but
no, Cole, I think you might be right.
I think you're right, Cole.
9 assists.
Yeah.
I think so.
No.
Every week has more than what a time to be alive.
Not tonight. And one more comment in the chat. It comes from. I'll let Jose Donga have the last say. He says, what's he saying here? Maybe Edu can spy out some good South American talent on the cheap. If the owner of the board had any ambition, money wouldn't be a key factor, because you would invest, no questions, or sell your assets, you see, which are needed, like Liverpool did, like Colin said. The Liverpool model is something that we need to gravitate towards. Guys, I'm gonna call it quits on this Easytalk. That we were back in the aftermath of that Wednesday night that we all really want to forget. But before I wrap it up, Richard, I want to say big thank you for coming on to the Easy Talk again.
You're welcome.
Make sure whoever's watching, maybe now or at least at a later stage, subscribe to Arsenal TV. I've definitely left the link in the comments box. Colin, the voice of reason. Always, Raz. You guys still fighting over the belt or what?
Hey.
He can hold it for the season. He can hold it for the season.
Raz, I bought that belt. Oh, good hell, man. Do you know what, though, right? Like, the thing is, right? I mean, okay, fine. The belt's got an amazing reception. I didn't think it would. Like, I mean, initially I brought it on as a joke, but to be fair, it's, you know, you guys in the chat and, you know, those who subscribe to Cannon Fodder seem to dig it. So,
Hashtag get the belt.
is that in the chat? Oh man, I love you guys.
I'll tell you what, Carl. Oh, listen, when we went to the Gunners Park just near the stadium on Wednesday, we met up with Terry, and actually Terry did mention the belt.
Yeah,
you see people wearing hats, sunglasses, and there's a belt as well.
Listen, man. Listen, it's all good. And you know what? Hopefully, right? Depending on what I can get sorted out and whatnot, maybe I'll be at the Emirates Cup in July. You never know.
Hey,
oh, serious?
You never know, man. You never know. It depends on what I can get sorted out, right? It'll all rely on like some key things here, but if I can get it sorted, I definitely will be there. But also could have some other things in the pipeline. You never know. Just a hint. Draft coming tomorrow, maybe. Don't know.
You heard it right here. Live and direct. Oh, yeah, Colin, it's always a pleasure to have you on
yeah, man. Yeah.
Hey, Alex, we got to get you down around my end, bro.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I might be making my way up there.
Interesting.
Yes.
What do you reckon? Have the belt on camera or not?
But it's funny because a lot of people say to me, well, you met James in Amsterdam, you met Richard
Clacton.
You know, you hooked up with TC from I'm Gonna Talk. What about Colin? Colin should have been the first person. I said, you know what? In time, lads. In time.
Don't worry, lads.
Good things.
Lads, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
It definitely will happen. Although, to tell you the truth, Alex, we probably could have done it in April.
Why didn't we do it in April?
I have no idea. Although to be fair, we were both like mad ahead of the game, so would have been weird.
By the way,
no, it'll be good, man.
It will happen. But yeah, thanks a lot. And Ralph, my brother Ralph.
Hey,
back on our channel, your channel.
Yeah, listen. Always on the. I'm not sure you see the back. If you see the back, always a gunner.
The original.
Always.
Gunner for life.
Yeah, it doesn't. You know, we go through it together and we ride out together, man. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change it for any team else. It's my team.
Absolutely.
It's my team.
So from Richard, Colin, and my brother Ralph, you know, thank you to all you guys who came on into the chat. It's been wild on the chat there. And like I always say, you know, without any subscribers, any viewers, they really, there can never ever be a Cannon Fodder TV. So this has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. And breaking news.